Today I'm going to show you how I package little prints for art fairs and craft fairs using these all-inclusive little sets with the mats, backing boards, bags, and some stamps, and a little bit on how I tag them for selling in person specifically. I order these in bulk from Amazon. I can get 25 to 100 sets, and that's so very important to cut cost downs for small businesses. When you buy them individually in stores, it can be very expensive to make a big set, and you need lots of options for your people. These are also great to get for small doodles and original art that you can package, because it just makes everything so snazzy and put together and professional. So I print on watercolor paper and some heavyweight cardstock at home, so it's nice and bright, but that means I have to cut these down to fit the mats, and I actually cut these to fit the mat just about perfectly. So I don't need tape for my small mats, and it's not going to wiggle around too much. Also gives a nice thickness to these little sets I have here. I'm using a big old thick pencil because if I do mess up, I'm that clumsy, I can gently erase around some of it for the paper, and it just makes it nice and cleaner overall. But this little paper chopper I have right here, I love this little guy. It's been around with me for years. It has cut hundreds of greeting cards and prints for me. The little paper slicer blade is pretty good. It stays sharp enough for these little things. I probably need to change it a bit more often, but this is just going to go into a montage of chopping a bunch of little prints down. This is all the time it takes. It's not bad at all. I got this little stamp guy with my name and website, also from Amazon, because it's a useful place for small businesses right now. Very affordable little stamp. I highly recommend putting your branding on the actual physical item you're selling, not just tags and business cards, because those go away. Those get trashed. Whether they love your stuff or not, it's garbage. They don't need to keep that. That stuff usually goes away. So putting your name and website directly on a product is very, very important. That's why I love the stamp. I'll also put it on the card backing board with these, because people ask if my website or email is on my stuff, because it's like signing your work. They want to contact you. They want to know whose it is. So I will stamp the back of the little cardboard as well, so they can see that, maybe while it's framed, because you can't see it otherwise, or when they're at home or just looking around. So whether you write those out yourself, you can. It's a nice touch if you have nice handwriting, but once you do 50 of these little things, even handwriting of that is going to add up fast. It goes from 30 seconds of writing, 20 seconds of writing, down to 2. And that is a lot when you're doing craft fairs, art fairs, or stocking up for Christmas. So I highly recommend shaving down those seconds. You want to spend your time making art, not necessarily just putting your logo on things. So that kind of slimming down your process is still important, even packaging mats like that. Still a little hand done. Of course, these are all still made by me. Clumsy me with these darn little slippery bags. I'm very careful to put them face down. See that flap right there? That flap goes in the back. I want that to fold over into the back, because I don't want that line on the front. I want a gorgeous presentation of just my art on the front, as clean as it can be. So my tag is also going to go on the back, usually. You can do stickers and stuff. Depends on what you want, what art and craft fair you're doing. But I will put that little flap on the back, because that one extra layer of plastic and glue is going to add up. When you have 30 prints, that bottom is actually even thicker. So not only do you not want to obstruct the vision of your art, it can catch on things, but that bottom's going to be thicker, and that actually makes it easier for them to tip over and people to rifle through them. They're kind of bottom heavy that way, and they're a little clumsy to put on the bags because they fit perfectly. If you buy them yourself, keep in mind for card packs and prints, the thickness of 4-8 cards or whatever, and the mat board, whatever, you have the thickness. So you can't buy bags that are exactly the size of your print. You need some thickness, and you do run into that when you buy packs of those bags. They can be archival bags for art. There's some for just greeting cards. They're all over the internet, just as this stamp also is. I found it a wonderfully, see how fast that is? Look at that thing. Wonderfully affordable version of branding for things that aren't going to be thrown away. Those also work on my ornaments, although they don't really varnish that well on the ornament. I'll have to think of what I can do with that. You can attach that to a lot of things. I'll even stamp that on the back of stretcher bars or the wood pieces on the back of canvases for my artwork. Sometimes it's more readable than others on wood grain, but it gives me something else, and I'll usually write by hand for those as well, because I'm not doing 50 at a time. But you see exactly how fast this is for these little matted guys. The mat themselves will fit a 5x7, which is on purpose. It's a wonderful little size for dollar store frames, or just little affordable frames. You can make a gallery wall that way. I want these to be versatile for my customers. It's a lovely low price point because I'm not printing super fancy. They go super fast for me to package them, so I can provide a nice low price point for people who just want to collect some art and don't got a lot of money. Hopefully down the road they'll see my gorgeous website name on the back and then buy some more, and they're like, I want the real thing now. Thank you for letting this be in my house, and I'll thank you for buying that so long ago. That's exactly how it's supposed to go, guys. Promise. We'll see. You'd be surprised how many people I've had that will come back for more. Meanwhile, versatility for my customers in displaying your stuff with dollar store frames, because I've been there too. I needed prints. I have little dollar store frames. Michaels have good stuff. Frames and matting can absolutely elevate your artwork. Even if you have a fun little doodle that you think someone might like, cut it down, print it out, scan it out, mat it up. It looks snazzy once you put a little white border around it, and you can make a nice impact piece if you choose to do a large border, like a larger mat around a small piece. I've seen gorgeous little dry point prints, like 2x2 square and a giant mat. It looks very snazzy. So play around with it. You've got bags, you've got mats. The backing board is very important, so it stays flat. You want to thick enough that it's not going to flop over in your display. It can hold up by itself. That's actually another reason this single-use plastic is rather important, because humidity, if you're outside or inside, humidity can be a big problem with kind of melting your prints and folding them all up. I had a whole batch of postcards just curled over outside one year. So that plastic is not replaceable for me right now. I do have a bigger batch. These are my two favorite sizes right now. Little 5x7s, and then we jump to 11x14, which fits an 8x10 in the middle. I'll buy at least 100 versions of these a year. Not whole boxes, obviously, because I think I would delegate out for that if I grew to that level at this point. But these are also great for original art, like I said, for doodles, works on paper with acrylic, watercolor, maybe pastel. I don't know about that because I don't know if the plastic is off the page enough for pastel for smudging purposes. You have to be careful if you varnish your art before you put it in a plastic bag. Some varnishes are very caustic. There's something in the carrier of the spray varnish or the varnish itself that will kind of melt the plastic. The fumes will melt the plastic of your bag if you're not careful. So I'm stamping the back of this little print, and I'm also going to use some tape, painter's tape. This is the most gentle stuff I have, although it can actually melt in the sunlight in that bag and shift the print sometimes, which surprisingly, the heat and wind are things you have to keep in mind of with outdoor shows. Indoor shows, obviously not that much. I saw on YouTube where I'm putting one side of that tape, like it's just on one side of that print. It's a hinge on the top. I want to say that's Bob Blast. Is that Bob Blast? I might put a link. His channels, I love listening to his stuff, and wonderful energy and how he does everything. So make a hinge on the top so it hangs down and that humidity can't buckle the paper inside that and trap it. And in here I'm writing down the edition number and my name. This is something I hand write for the big prints, sometimes with more success than others with the clumsy hands. You see 12 out of 500, and a lot of these prints editions are going to be out of 500 for these home printed kinds, the specific ones I sell at art craft fairs. A lot of art fairs require editions of 500 or less to make a little bit of exclusivity for the patrons who come to shop there. So it's not like a completely open edition where you'll print infinite amounts. They want something a little special for their people. And depending on your price point, 500 of these compared to the original is a glorious thing to have. So there's a little bit of math and the pricing to go with those. I do look to be competitive or not undercut the other artists out there, but they often usually buy archival quality bulk online anyway, and I don't. So there's that. For now, people can buy archival online. Meanwhile, these are my tags. Super easy, computer paper, sometimes cardstock, especially if outside. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with putting the print in the mat. I'm going to put sticky tape, usually a transparent fancy tape. It's not fancy, it's not. Packaging, scotch, whatever that stuff is, on one side, usually the top, so it stays there. There's all sorts of information for shops on there, like my inventory number, price, what it is, which is surprisingly important. And I'm going to stick it on the back. Customers do look for prices on individual items, but a lot of shops need to be able to remove the tag, which is another way your packaging needs your branding on your item and on the packaging. So even if they read that, the store might grab that tag and rip it off. And yeah, put more little bags. More on tags and stuff later if you're interested, because I had to learn the hard way about what exactly to put on a tag, and it's not even that much. So that about sums up a lot of these little packaging. I realize I didn't put too much into the big prints, but it's the same thing. I just want to show you the tape hinge method on the inside. There's a lot of fancy art tapes you can use the inside with acid-free linen tape for works on paper. I honestly am not too picky on the tape I use. It can always be replaced and taken off. And thanks for watching. Hope that helped. Love to see and hear how your craft fairs and art fairs are going, and if this helped you, package your stuff.